Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the adjourned new date for the January Planning Board meeting. Couple of things. First of all, the Planning Board, the members you see up here are all volunteers appointed by the town board. We have final decision-making authority on site plans and subdivisions. We are advisory only when it comes to rezoning and comprehensive plan amendments. And we do have a couple of those tonight. Those are advisory to the town board, who has the final decision-making on those things. Those are the elected officials. Some ground rules with all the items. We have 6 items on for tonight. The petitioner will first present to the board on the agenda item. The board will then ask questions of the petitioner. I will then ask if anyone from the public has any comments or questions, and these will be directed up front to the planning board, and then they'll be related over to the actual petitioner. We'll ask the petitioner then to address those questions that you have, every one of them. There is a laser pointer at the podium. You can use that, and I would also ask, if you're going to use a laser podium, to use the screen that is on my right, your left. Anything under unfinished business, which there isn't anything tonight, will not have a public hearing. With regard to time limits, the petitioner has 15 minutes with which to speak. And then the first person from the general public who comes up after that, that's the person who's designated as the community spokesperson. So whoever that is should go first. That person will get 15 minutes as well. Anyone else who wishes to speak from the general public after the community spokesperson will have 3 minutes, and we'll be timing you from behind here. We'll keep track of it for you. Anyone that wishes to speak, all I would ask is that you line up so you're ready to go as soon as the person before you gets done. We'll make sure that everybody has time to speak. In the unlikely event of an emergency, I would ask everybody to go back out that door and to the right, out the door. Don't come up here on this. And can we do roll call, please?
Shamil.
Here.
Gill. Hogan.
Present.
Khan. O'Rourke.
Present.
Lamberti. Raphael.
Here. Okay. Okay, let's start with item number 1. This is 3900, 3904 Maple Road. You want to do the minutes first?
And we have 2 sets of minutes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Well, the first set of minutes, November 20th, 2025, that was the last meeting we had. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Hearing yes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for November 20, 2025?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Joe. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Shamil.
Yes.
Hogan.
Yes.
O'Rourke.
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. And on January 15th of this year, we had another meeting that was adjourned, as there was not enough people to have a quorum, but we do have minutes on that. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes for January 15, 2026?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve said minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Joe, seconded by John. Do I hear a roll call, please?
Shamil.
Yes.
Hogan.
Yes.
O'Rourke.
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Okay, passes 4-0. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 1 then, 3900, 3904 Maple Road. Mr. Hopkins.
Yes, good evening. Sean Hopkins on behalf of the applicant. Also with me is Rob Savarino, as well as Patrick Sheedy, the project engineer from Carmina Wood Design. Next slide. So the project site is highlighted there in yellow. It would be a portion of 3900 Maple Road. That has one of the newer mixed-use zonings. It's actually zoned CTR 5, Center 5 District. As you can see on that aerial photograph showing the zoning classifications of nearby properties, there's a wide assortment: MFR 5, MFR 7, MS, and CTR 8. We're directly across the street from Boulevard Towers, where O.J. Simpson used to live. Here's the aerial photograph of the project site. Next slide. So it's important to note that Mr. Savarino, about a decade ago, successfully completed a similar project that was market rate senior housing directly across the street, one parcel over to the west, and that's shown there. It was 4 stories, 101 units, also designed by the same architect, Silvestri Architects, and I forgot to mention Stephanie Hunt's here as well from Silvestri Architects. This is a different project. That project was very well received and has remained at full occupancy. Next slide. Survey of the project site, and it's important to note that if you look here, there's already parking on this parcel, and there was a area where there would have been a commercial building. This was done in connection with the Premier building, which is located here. They acquired the entire site. The project sponsor will be acquiring this property from that current owner, and there is a purchase and sale agreement in place. Next slide. You can see there the 2.2 acres. We are showing 100 parking spaces versus the 81 that would be required for senior housing. Next slide. So in terms of the specifics, 81 units. These will be affordable units for those age 55 plus. The building itself is approximately 82,624 square feet. We're emphasizing 1-bedroom units. There'll be 74 of those, and 7 2-bedroom units. The most important bullet point is the 4th one on the left-hand column. 72 units will be for those earning no more than 60% of area median income, 9% for residents earning no more than 30% of AMI. Not only in the town of Amherst, but all communities in West New York and really throughout the state, there is a desperate need for affordable housing. They're few and far between, unfortunately. Mr. Savarino has been working on this now for over a year, even though we're just bringing it in front of you. And we think this project will be very well received, and we know there's more than ample demand. One of the benefits here, of course, is you're close to Tops, close to pharmacies, you're close to Niagara Falls Boulevard, a wide assortment of amenities that would be utilized by those senior residents. We did submit an application for housing tax credits on September 11th of 2025. And one of the key criteria of the review of that application is having site plan approval from the planning board. So that's why we will be asking for that tonight. And then, of course, it is also walkable to 2 nearby NFTA bus stops. Next stop, next slide. So we started this process by going to the town board back on September 2nd of last year to see if they would support this project. They adopted a lengthy resolution, a copy of which is now shown on the slide, that basically in summary states that they support the project, with an acknowledgement, of course, that it does require site plan approval from this board. This project does actually not go in front of the town board for review and approval because it is properly zoned. Next slide. So on the left is the original site plan we filed on September 22nd of last year. And on the right is the updated site plan that we filed on January 13th. Originally from the east property line, the 4-story building had a setback of 32.23 feet. We had discussions with Krista Halt, the town's senior fire inspector, and she expressed a concern. The concern was that if there's a fire on that side of the building, there was not adequate room for 2 things. Number one, emergency vehicles themselves, fire trucks, and then also for them to install ladders to access those upper floors if needed. So we did revise the plan, which is shown on the right. We modified that setback from 32.23 feet to 51.22 feet. We did add a fire apparatus road here on the east side of the building, and Krista Halt has confirmed that this is acceptable. I do want to note that we do require 2 variances from the New York State Board of Review for one reason, because the length of sections of that emergency apparatus road are more than 120 feet. So that's here, that's here. Krista has discussed this with the fire chief, and the fire chief is in support of that relief. And of course, this building will be fully sprinkled. Next slide. Lighting, dark sky compliant, no lighting spillover onto adjacent properties, as confirmed by the lighting plan prepared by Pat Sheedy of Carmina Wood Design. Next slide. Krista also asked for an updated truck turning plan, specifically for fire trucks. This is the plan that shows that. One of the other comments that came up is because we're buying this site from the existing owner of the Premier parcel, that we obtain an easement for access out to Maple Road and not be limited to access to Meyer Road. Mr. Savarino has spoken to the existing owner, and they're okay with that. So one of the conditions that I believe is proposed by the planning department is that there be an access easement in place to allow that, and we're fine with that. Next slide. Storm drainage plan, we do comply with the stringent stormwater quality and quantity standards. And again, it's important to remember, this is not a vacant piece of property. There's already a lot of impervious surface. We will require approval from the engineering department, which we've received, and that stormwater management system has been fully designed. Next slide. Landscape plan, Rob actually did this in color. Per the town's landscape requirements, there'll be extensive landscaping, including a wide assortment of trees, shrubs, ornamental grasses. There is literally no landscaping on this site today, so that will be a dramatic improvement compared to the existing conditions. Next slide. This is just the floor plan of the first floor, and again, keep in mind, this is affordable senior housing. Next slide. Second floor, third floor, and fourth floor. Next slide. Here's a copy of the color rendering prepared by Stephanie and her team at Silvestri Architects. If there's any questions about that, we'd welcome them. But again, an effort has been made here. This project, because we are in one of the mixed-use districts, was reviewed by the Design Advisory Board, and they have previously recommended approval as part of that process. Next slide. Building elevations, tough to see here, but there is vertical and horizontal articulation, and a wide assortment of high-quality materials will be utilized. Next slide. That's just showing the west side and east side of the elevations. Next slide. So we do think quite clearly this request is consistent with the comprehensive plan, specifically the housing and neighborhood goals set forth in policy 8-2, which basically recognizes that historically the town of Amherst was primarily single-family homes on individual lots. And because of changing demographics going back over the course of the past 2 decades, there's a need for more diverse housing stock, including townhomes, condominiums, apartments, housing, et cetera. And again, I want to make sure I really emphasize there's a desperate need for affordable housing, and this will serve that market. Next slide. So we are requesting, because we're in the mixed-use district, one design exception that has been reviewed by the DAB, and that's pursuant to Town Code Section 203-5A47K, 203-5A76, which basically states that you have to have doorways or entrances every 75 feet. The goal, I believe, of that language is when you're bringing something up to the street, it's numerous storefronts, et cetera, because this is a senior housing building, and we do certainly need to control access, and because of the building design, we do not have that. The proposed building is 285 feet and has one centrally located main pedestrian access, as is the case with every senior housing project located in the town. So I think there's ample justification for that. We also want to note that that would be consistent with the state design guidelines that apply to this project. Next slide. So we have received all the required approvals from various town departments and committees. There will be conditions that we need to address. Amy Corrado did provide us with a draft of the resolution, and all of those conditions that are in there are acceptable to the project sponsor and the project team. Next slide. This also does require an environmental review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. We provided extensive documentation. This is an unlisted action pursuant to seeker. Because it is senior housing, there will be minimal traffic impacts involved. We've already again mentioned the fact that we need to comply with stormwater management requirements, and we think it's quite clear that this project justifies the issuance of a negative declaration by this board. Next slide. So with all that being said, subject to any questions or comments that any of you may have, we're asking for number 1, the issuance of a negative declaration pursuant to seeker. Number 2, the granting of the requested design waiver. And then number 3, approval of the pending request for site plan approval subject to appropriate conditions as set forth in your draft resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, I'll turn it over to you. Do you have any questions for Mr. Hopkins?
No, sir.
John, any questions?
Yeah, Sean, thanks for your presentation. You touched on most of the conditions, and you're aware of all, there's 11 of them listed
We are.
here. So other than the design exception, the 11 conditions, you're good with everything that's been presented? Okay. And seeker, I don't believe we have to,
The subject site is covered under the Boulevard Central
Oh,
District.
thank you.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't
So
think
there
we
is-
needed seeker.
It's a consistency
It's
determination.
underneath, it's covered by the findings.
That is true. So there was a GIS done for that entire district.
Yes.
And as long as we're consistent with that, does not require the issuance of an independent secret determination.
Okay, thanks, that's it for me.
Joe, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Is there anybody from the general audience here who has any questions or concerns they'd like to bring up with regard to item number 1? Hearing none, I will close the hearing. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item number 2, South Linden Street, 46 through 84. Mr. Palumbo.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Palumbo with the law firm of Block Longo, representing the petitioner this evening. I'm also here with Pat Sheedy from Carmina Wood. So any questions you have relative to the engineering of the project, Pat will be happy to answer. So you're all very familiar with this development. It's been in front of you in one form or another for many years. The property is located off of Worley Drive, as you can see on the map. It's located approximately 370 feet east of South Harvest, and it is currently zoned MFR5, and we'll go into that in a little more detail. Next. So the subject properties and former right-of-ways are currently undeveloped. The site itself measures approximately 2.5 acres with 50 feet of frontage on Worley and 215 feet of frontage on McIntyre. We are adjacent to the I-90, the New York State Thruway. On south, the single and two-family residential. To the east, the American Legion Post is immediately adjacent to us. And to the west, we have single-family residential. Next, what we're proposing on the site, and you'll see a site plan shortly, are 2 townhouse buildings. One would house 12 individual units, and one would house 16 individual units. There are also garages there are 12 separate units in the garages. So we are also requesting, as part of the site plan approval, a waiver of the sidewalk, which is required on the McIntyre Road frontage. And if you're familiar with that area at all, there are no sidewalks anywhere in that area. On South Harvest, anywhere close to us, there are no sidewalks. So this would be a sidewalk to nowhere, and we're asking for the board to waive that requirement. You can see on the plan, the 16-unit and the 12-unit building. We have designed it so that the stormwater management area is adjacent to the single-family homes. At one point in time, you might have seen a plan that had it just the opposite, that had the garages on that side rather than the stormwater management area. But we thought, with discussions through the planning department, I believe through the planning board, we essentially swapped the stormwater management area with the garages. Next. Do we have anything else? These are the building elevations. You've seen these before. This is the 16-unit building. The next one will be the 12-unit building. You can keep going. And those are the garages. So in terms of the background, I just wanted to go into that very quickly. This project started a number of years ago with the acquisition of essentially what was a paper road, South Linden, that the town of Amherst owned. Our client purchased the property from the town. We then went through an application to the town board asking them to amend the comprehensive plan in November of 2024 to allow a multifamily development on the site. The property was subsequently zoned by the by the town board after an approval recommendation from the planning board. So the property is now zoned MFR5. We also required variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Those have been obtained. The first one was for the allowance of a 21.8 5-foot separation between the two residential buildings. That was granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals, and allowing a 6-foot privacy fence along the first 30 feet of the western property line from the parcel's northwest corner, and those were granted. So what we have left after 3 or 4 years of developing this townhouse project is the site plan approval before this board. And that's just an overview of the property, an aerial of the property. You can see it's all adjacent to the commercial development and the single-family homes. And we went through in great detail, you may remember this, we showed a number of similar type developments in the area. There's a mixture of zonings in this area, it's commercial as well as residential. And the board ultimately found that this was and didn't meet the intent and the harmony of the comprehensive plan. So the issue is sidewalks and site plan. And as I indicated, Pat is here. If you have any specific questions on the engineering, we did address all of the questions that were raised by the various agencies within the town, and I believe we have approvals from all of them. So just to summarize, we believe that this fulfills the town's comprehensive plan as approved by the town board, and we are providing, as we indicated in our application, a diverse housing option to accommodate different family sizes and income levels on this site. And we act as a traditional use between the existing single-family homes and the commercial areas adjacent to us. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and hopefully we'll get the waiver and the site plan approved this evening.
Thank you. Mike, any questions?
No, sir.
John, questions?
Mr. Palumbo, same question I asked Mr. Hopkins. There are 15 conditions laid out. Are you familiar with?
Yes, we were provided with a resolution.
Okay. And you're okay with everything that's there? There's, towards the end, it's highlighted that Design Advisory Board wanted to see a little bit of
The-
core on the garage side.
We have no problem with that. There was a suggestion that we add 2 cupolas to each of the garages, and we don't have any problem with that.
Okay.
We don't have any problem with any of the conditions that were attached to the resolution.
Okay, thank you. No, that's it.
Joe, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Palmer, the only question I have, you indicated that this was accommodating to various income levels. Could you expound upon that a little bit, please?
Well, what we tried to do from the very beginning is tried to make this as affordable as possible. In this day and age, it's not that easy to do that, as you know, given the construction costs, the cost of the land, the engineering, and so on and so forth. So what we ended up with are rental units. We have, the vast majority of the units are 1-bedroom. There are 4 2-bedrooms. So we tried to make that as affordable as possible. And by keeping the majority of them 1 unit, we believe we will accomplish that. What will the rent be? You know, that'll be market driven, but I'm assuming it'll be somewhere in the $1,500 to $2,500 range, somewhere in there. Maybe slightly lower for the 1-bedrooms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there anybody from here, from the general public, who has any questions or concerns they'd like to bring up on this item? Hearing none, I'll close the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 3 is 118 South Forest Road, Michel's Florist.
Thanks for having me. I'm Mark Yaden, Vice President, Michel's Florist and Greenhouse over at 118 South Forest Road. Pretty simple request here. We're looking at doing a greenhouse expansion, basically putting up a high tunnel greenhouse or a hoop house on the property that's existing at 118 South Forest Road. This greenhouse is going to be a structure that's made of metal hoops as well as a plastic roof the floor of it is going to be soil, which we will be growing in. So it's going to be an unheated greenhouse, minimal electricity, and it's basically a structure that's going to be used for wintering over our perennials, as well as extending our growing season in the springtime. I think it's going to really help us diversify our product mix and help the community along. As you know, Mishler's been a longtime resident here. Frank Mishler moved here in 1942, so we're looking, or 45, so we're looking at, 80 plus years of being in the town of Amherst, serving the community, employing people. I have 25 full and part-time employees there. We also have really done a lot in the community for goodwill. So I really believe that this project is simple. It's not rocket science. As you can see, the structure is basically hoops, 18-foot tall, and it's towards the center of our property. So minimal impact on anything. Customers won't be going in there. It's not going to be accessible. It's truly just a production area that I'm trying to expand our business, go into the next generation. So pretty simple, straightforward.
Well said.
That's it.
Thank you. Let's open up to questions here. Mike, any questions?
No, Mr. Chairman.
John, questions?
Your reputation precedes you. Congratulations on looking to the future. It's a vital part of the community. In the meantime, there are, like I've asked the other petitioners, 5 conditions that were listed. Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
Okay. You're all set with addressing each and every one?
Yeah, each and every one will be addressed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Yaden, have you been in contact or any dialogue? It's a pretty residential area over by Mishler's. I drive by it almost on a daily basis. Has there been any dialogue or any contact you've had with the surrounding neighbors about any concerns at all?
No, the only, I have had some talk with the neighbors, and they're supportive. The ones adjacent to us, well, we own the property adjacent to the, on one side of the commercial property, and that's where I live. And so there's another corner as well that we own on 111 Linwood, which also is adjacent to the property. The back side of the property is has like 5 residential houses, and I've talked to 2 of the neighbors, and they're fine with it. The other 2 I don't see.
And in case anyone asks, do you have an anticipated, start to finish time frame as to what this is going to take to construct?
Yeah, it's a simple project. Once we break ground, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks for completion.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody from the general public have any questions or concerns for Mr. Yaden regarding item number 3? Hearing none, I'll close the hearing. Thank you. Item number 4, 3230 Millersport Highway, Emily's Garden Apartments.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jake Metzger with Metzger Civil Engineering. Also with me this evening are the owners and applicants of the project, Kevin and Alex Weiss. What we're proposing here is a simple apartment complex. The uniqueness of the project is there are 3 parcels existing currently, 1, 2, and 3. The 2 to the south, addressed at 3230 and 3238 Millersport Highway, currently have single-family homes. And the apartment complex to the north is currently owned and operated by the Weisses as Emily's Garden Apartment Complex. Now, the plan is to remove the 2 single-family homes and create a three-story, nine-unit apartment building. And ultimately, all three parcels would be joined so that it would be, one development in the end. General idea of the layout of the area, you have single-family homes to the west, and you have single-family homes and vacant land on the other side of Millersport. Further to the south is a single-family home with some commercial buildings. And as I said before, there are apartments to the north and with further apartments to the north of that. Here you see the traditional layout of the building, and there are a 40-foot buffer to the rear, buffering to the single-family homes to the west. Not just an open lawn, but there's a pretty healthy vegetated screen that's existing there now. I should note that these two properties, the two smaller parcels, were rezoned just last year after a recommendation from this board by unanimous vote. And then in July of last year, the town board did rezone this property to MFR 4A. The layout, as you see, is in total compliance with the town of Amherst code. There are no variances required for this project. And we are currently working with all the town departments to address any technical questions that they may have. We're still in the process of receiving all those town comments, so we're currently working through all those as we sit here. With that, I open it to any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, sir. Mike, any questions?
No, sir.
John, any questions?
Yeah, my question du jour is on the conditions, specifically number 4, which is pretty broad, that says you've got a lot of work to do on this. Are you aware that there are several departments in the state that are looking for additional information that would just not been received yet? So
Yes, yeah, we understand that. Again, like I said, we're new in the fact that, we've just submitted the application and we're in the process of getting all those comments addressed. Interdepartment as well as, state DOT and all that. So we understand that, yes.
all right,
Joe, any questions?
Yes, so the fire department has quite a few concerns regarding access for apparatus, specifically aerial apparatus around the back side of the building. Are you planning to address those?
Yeah, we're going to have to look at that. I know we need to be within 150 feet of all portions of the building, so that's something that we are going to consider and work with the fire department. That's part of the town department comments that we're going to have to address before we can move forward.
No further questions?
Okay. I have no questions. Is there anybody from the general public that has any questions or concerns for Mr. Metzger? Hearing none. I'm going to keep the hearing open because there still is a lot of work to do that may change the plans. I want to give everybody a chance to be able to comment in case there are changes that need to be discussed, both for you, Mr. Metzger, and the general public. So we're going to keep that open.
Very good.
Okay. Moving on to item.
Thank you.
Vote to adjourn the item? Yeah, is that what we have to do? Okay.
hey,
Okay. All right, item number 5 is 5122 Sheridan Drive. This involves a recommendation of the town board.
Hi, good evening. My name is Steve Geltz. I'm from Darrell Martin Architect and representing the owner, Bill and Cassant, for the rezoning of the property at on 21 Sheridan Drive. The owner, if you would please, the next slide, that they are looking to take the existing single-family residence, has a small little out parcel shed that's on the property that was kind of used for a little small business that will be demolished. And they are looking to take a portion of the house and convert it over for a little small pizzeria, just for himself, the owner, to be able to run the pizzeria on his hours, to be able to serve the local community. So therefore, we're looking for be able to have something for a neighbor to rezone this to neighborhood business, which kind of fits in the neighborhood of the area. We have the subdivision back behind, that's the north of the property, and off of Mill Street, and then everything else to the west of there is all residential. And then if you head east, it's all nothing but business as you start heading down Sheridan Drive. So it's a really nice kind of a mix to be able to put together for, the combination there for residents for his house and having the pizzeria in the same building. Proposing putting in 10 parking spots versus the required 8 based on square footage for the pizzeria inside. It's going to be just takeout only, just kind of some small area just for be able to stand in there, get your order, and walk out. For the rest of it, it'll just be for the processing the kitchen of the pizzeria.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Mike, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. You're familiar with the one condition that's put on about leaving the 75
Yes,
feet
correct.
to the north green
Yes.
space?
Yep.
You good with that condition?
Yes, fair.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
John, any
I
questions?
have no questions.
Joe, any questions?
No questions.
No questions for myself. Is there anybody here from the general public that has any questions or concerns they'd like to address? Sure, come on up to the podium.
Sign in too, please.
Hello, my name is Gia Kuhn. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share a few words. I have,
Your address for the record, please.
I'm sorry?
I need your address for the record, please.
Yes, for the records, it's 47 Sunbury Court,
Thank you.
Williamsville. I live in the Village Green, and I just had a question and a little bit of a concern for our children that live in the Village Green. That intersection at Sheridan and Mill is quite a busy intersection. We are excited about the new Starbucks coming with, but it'll increase traffic. And we have our school buses going down, turning onto Mill and going off on Sheridan. I question whether there's a need for the rezoning, and is it safe to bring more traffic right into that small piece of property right facing there, where we know we already have quite a bit of accidents on a regular basis with people shooting through the Sheridan Drive light there at Mill. So I guess my concern would be, I am concerned about turning that into a business where we're going to generate even more traffic, especially with the takeout business. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Any other questions or concerns before we turn it over? Come on up, ma'am.
Make sure they sign in.
Is there a sign in up there? I need you to,
I'm,
go ahead.
I'm his neighbor on Mill Street.
I'm going to need you to do a few things first. I need you to sign in. There should be a pen up there, and I'll need your name and address for the record.
Oh, you did?
Did you sign in? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't see it. You snuck one by me. By all of us.
I have a lot of concern.
And I will need your name and address for the record out loud.
Okay. Sheila Suchak, 649 Mill Street.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, 30 years ago, the doctor, the dentist, opened his clinic on Sheridan, right next to the neighbor who's trying to open the pizzeria. The town ordered him to plant trees because my house is directly, my kitchen and my dining room directly face these two properties. The town never followed through with the trees being planted. 30 years I've put up with it. Okay. Now what is going to happen with the pizzeria? Am I going to have glinting, the dentist's office has cars parked every day on a bright winter's day. The rooftops glint with the sunlight, and it comes right into my eyes when I'm trying to wash my dishes or eat my dinner at my dining table. It's been torture. I've come to this building committee and this planning board for the past 15 years, and no one has helped me. The building room department blames the planning department, and the planning department blames the building department. And I got all, for years, I've been begging them to make that man follow the plan that we agreed on 30 plus years ago. No one has done it. And I like my neighbor from Turkey. He's a wonderful person. And I don't mind him opening. Of course, the other lady's concerns are better. As long as he has a high fence, or trees are not going to work like the dentist has proven. It doesn't work. He never planted the trees. As long as, have you seen the wall between McDonald's and the neighbors to the back part of McDonald's? The same kind of wall. I just need a wall to block off all the pizzeria traffic. I can't live like this anymore. 30 years plus. The town has let me down. I was here 2 weeks ago. The planning department said it's the building department. I went to the building department. They said, no, it's the planning department. What guarantee am I going to get that the quality of my life with these lights glinting in my eyes doesn't deteriorate and get any worse? I am tired, sirs.
Ma'am,
I am tired.
ma'am, thank you very much for your comments. We have time limits for our rules of decorum, but everything you've said is in the record. Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions before I turn it back to the petitioner? Okay. Hearing none, could you address the concerns that were brought up by the two individuals?
Certainly. Obviously, with increase of traffic, we're not really anticipating, it's just going to be a small little mom and pop shop. Not really anticipating any major traffic coming in. Again, there was already a tailor shop that was there in the past, so really there's not going to be that much of a difference in change of traffic coming into this current parcel. And obviously, as for concerns of hers for landscaping and screening, that would be addressed as we go into the actual site development. You know, we're here tonight just for simple rezoning. Just wanted to make sure that we're on pace to be able to continue to develop the parcel.
You're not, in other words, asking that it foreclose the possibility of addressing some of these concerns, but at that time, you'll discuss that.
Yes.
Okay. And there's nobody else here hearing that, I will close it. Thank you. And item number 6, 2190, 2200 Worley Drive. Mr. Hopkins again.
Good evening once again. Sean Hopkins on behalf of the applicant, Young Development, Inc. Also with me is Joe Young on behalf of the applicant, Joe Young and I'm fucking late, as well as Pat Sheedy, the project engineer from Carmina Wood Design. Next slide. So we're here this evening in connection with your role as an advisory board to rezone this project site from OB to MFR5, Multifamily Residential District 5. This site has a particularly lengthy planning history that involves all sorts of issues predating my clients entering into a contract. We're proposing conditions.
Mr. Hopkins, I'm gonna have to go to our original slideshow that you presented.
That's fine. There's really nothing updated
The
much.
one you provided at the last minute couldn't be inserted, so I'm gonna go to the one that you provided previously.
You mean from the meeting that was supposed to be 2 weeks ago? Yeah, that's fine. All I did was change the date. There we go. The project site is 24.9 acres, has frontage on Worley Drive. Behind us to the north is Limestone. There's an existing office park. Next slide. Next slide. We'll get to this. Next slide. There we can go. Next slide. No, go back to that slide, Dan. So we've been working on this for the greater part now of more than a year. It is important to note this actually came in front of you last May. On October 27th of last year, the town board did approve a requested amendment to the comprehensive plan to allow multifamily on this site. As part of that process, we really did make an effort to solicit input from stakeholders. We held 3 informational meetings, and Joe Young has been in consistent communications with the residents, keeping them informed of the status of the project. Next slide. And that's the resolution that was adopted by the town board on October 27th, designating this site as appropriate for medium residential. Next slide. Zoning map currently zoned OB. It's important to note this site has been zoned OB since I believe 2001. Since that time, there's been no demand for additional office space. So we believe we've come up with a much better use for this site. Next slide. It is important to note this was already previously approved as a large office park. This is a copy of the resolution that was adopted by the planning board several years ago. That would have consisted of 4 large office buildings totaling approximately 284,000 square feet. Next slide. And this is the current concept plan. I'm going to walk through it quickly. 270 units. We are showing a community building with related amenities, a fitness center, pool, pickleball, and dog park, which is located here. Out of the 24.9 acres, at full development, 11 acres or 44% will be green space. We're showing an emergency access driveway connection to Limestone, which would be gated. This topic was actually discussed with the planning department this morning during a virtual meeting. And one of the comments we received was whether or not the applicant, Young Development, would be willing to accommodate a connection through that emergency access easement to allow residents from the project site to have direct access to Main Street, back and forth into the site. We would be willing to do that. Obviously, it would require an easement to be granted by the owner of that adjacent parcel. It's owned by a condominium association. But as we go forward, we're at least willing to explore that. What that would mean is that residents from the site, again, would have direct access to Main Street. It would not convert what we're showing in any type of public roadway. We've also discussed with the planning department the possibility of a future walking trail connecting all the way to Main Street within the National Grid right-of-way. That's definitely still something we'd be interested in accommodating. And we have shown a plan that accommodates some pedestrian walkway connections to that potential future improvement. Next slide. One of the design features we have here that's uncommon in connection with multifamily projects is this centrally located green space corridor that will have a width of 122 feet. And all of these units will directly back up to that. We're showing pedestrian-friendly amenities there. We think this will be a very well-received amenity. That does reflect input we received from the planning department over a course of several planning meetings that occurred last year. Next slide. So when we started, this was a much denser project. We've reduced the density by nearly 100 units. At that point in time, we had 4-story buildings, which are highlighted there with orange stars, 366 units. This was presented to the informational meetings we had with the residents and the planning board hearing on May 15th. And while you recommended approval of the comp plan amendment during that meeting, based on input we received from the nearby residents, we dramatically scaled back the project and we eliminated all previously proposed 4-story buildings. Next slide. This is a recommendation you issued during your meeting on May 15th of last year, recommending approval of the comp plan amendment. Next slide. Just your justification for that. Next slide. It's a concept plan dated June 17th. At that point, we scaled it back to 332 units, eliminating 34 units, and we pushed the 4-story buildings as far west as possible, which were shown here. Next slide. This is a plan that was, it's the same plan, and again, just to highlight those, they were 500 feet away from the nearby neighborhood directly to the east. However, it still was not particularly well received in terms of there being 4-story buildings, but the residents did acknowledge it was a great change. Next slide. Next slide. So one of the topics that was discussed extensively with the residents of the adjacent street, Garfield, was we were originally showing, based on input from the planning department, a pedestrian connection to that stub street that connects to our site. We got strong opposition to that, so we did remove it. So the current plan does not show a pedestrian or vehicular access to that existing stub street. The town has explored that possibility several times over the course of the past 25 years. Each time it has met strong opposition, and in each instance the town board is elected not to move forward. That is currently a paper street. Next slide. These were the 4-story color renderings that we presented, again, back to you on May 15th of last year and during those series of informational meetings. Next slide. It's the updated plan dated July 10th, where we removed that pedestrian connection and enhanced the landscaping. Next slide. This is the elevation plan of what we're currently proposing, which is, generally speaking, 2-story townhome buildings with attached garages for most of the units. We think this will be very well received, and we know there is a market for this. I would call it non-traditional residential units for lease, in that you have the garage on most of the units, and it doesn't look what I would call an old school apartment project. It's a townhome unit instead. Next slide. Next slide. So one of the couple topics came up from a technical perspective, and keep in mind this project does have to come back in front of you in the future for site plan approval. We were asked to take a look at downstream sanitary sewer capacity during wet weather conditions. So Pat Sheedy, who's here, did take a look at that. We submitted a downstream sanitary sewer capacity analysis report dated June 17th of 2025. That did confirm that there is indeed adequate downstream sewer capacity during wet weather conditions, and we will have to make an I&I payment to the town per its standard requirements, meaning basically after we develop this site, downstream sewer will improve compared to the existing conditions as a result of that payment. Next slide. This is just a highlight of the stormwater management system, another technical concern that we addressed as part of the review process. Again, all subject to fully engineered plans and eventual request for site plan approval from this board. We will comply with the applicable stringent stormwater quality and quantity standards, including the need for the on-site stormwater management system to be designed and installed to handle a 100-year storm event. Next slide. Water. So one of the topics that came up, and again, we discussed it again with the planning department today, and was one updated slide, was water, and making sure that our project will not have an adverse impact on the existing neighborhood. And I do want to note some of those residential streets located to the east of this site have had concerns in the past about water pressure. So I'm going to actually let Pat Sheedy from Carmina Wood Design address that very briefly.
Hi, good evening. Pat Sheedy, Carmina Wood Design, project engineer. As Sean noted, during the comp plan amendment review, we had extensive conversations between the planning department, engineering department, and Erie County Water Authority regarding the water pressure in this area. The general area and the neighborhoods surrounding the proposed project are unfortunately in a natural high elevation zone of the water district in this area, meaning naturally there's just lower pressure in the water lines. That doesn't mean there's low supply. It just means there's lesser pressure than in other parts of the town. So as part of that, we provided the Water Authority with our preliminary demand calculations. They ran it through their local model for peak demand, for average demand, for fire conditions. And what they found was there was a negligible difference in pressure and supply from the water mains on Worley, from Bellingham, from Limestone, for basically all the surrounding water mains of the project. They analyzed approximately 1.5 acre area around the project site, and they provided us with a lot of data and graphs that I had compiled into a preliminary water demand report that we had submitted to the planning department and engineering department. They have both reviewed those and acknowledged and agree with the water authority's assessment of the water pressure.
Thank you, Pat. Next slide. It's just figure 6 of the comp plan again, showing what the existing designation was prior to the town board's decision on October 27th of last year. Next slide. So the planning department did issue a memo back on May 7th of last year expressing support for the idea of multifamily development. They had very detailed comments. They pointed out that this is close to the YMCA, ECC North Campus, Industrial Park, et cetera, et cetera. We agree with all of these requirements, and it also made it quite clear, and Amherst has been very proactive in addressing this issue and studying this issue, that at this point in time, and no point in the foreseeable future, will there be tremendous demand for office space. Of course, that has changed substantially over the course of the past 2 decades. Next slide. These are just the policies that the project is consistent with. Next slide. Next slide. So this is also subject to an environmental review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. The town board did issue a negative declaration on October 27th of last year after conducting a coordinated environmental review. The town board once again will be responsible for issuing a negative declaration in connection with the underlying request to rezone this site from OB to MFR5. Next slide. So how have we addressed environmental impacts? We have a no impact determination letter from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, dated October 4th of 2005. We did provide a traffic impact study, which was subsequently updated twice by Amy Dake of Passero and Associates, that has been reviewed by the Traffic Safety Committee and the Erie County Department of Public Works. No additional concerns were expressed relative to that. We also did update the traffic study based on input from Chris Schragle, the town's traffic safety coordinator, to address the possibility of cut-through traffic on the adjoining residential streets. And I misspoke earlier. The adjoining residential street to the east is Bellingham, not Garfield. Next slide. So one of the topics we needed to address, unfortunately from our perspective, is the fact that we are subject to the new wetland regulations that were adopted by the DEC on January 1st of 2025. They're much more stringent and allow the DEC literally to regulate a wetland of any size, whereas previously it was limited to 12.3 acres. So we did have our wetland consultant, Scott Livingston, obtain a wetland delineation report of this site, and then we modified the project based on the results, or at least considered the results. And all of those areas in green, a couple of areas, those are very, very small wetlands that are potentially subject to jurisdiction by the DEC. Those areas that are highlighted in red would be the regulated 100-foot adjacent area. We are showing 6.31 acres of impacts to those. They are not wetlands. They are regulated 100-foot adjacent area, and we have submitted a permit application to the DEC on January 6th of this year. So no impact to the wetlands whatsoever, but we are proposing impacts to the adjacent area. Next slide. Summary of the traffic study, which I think I already went over. Next slide. I've already talked about the downstream sewer capacity analysis report. One of the topics that came up during the original review of the comp plan amendment was whether or not this was subject to a sanitary sewer moratorium that previously existed from way back in 1983. And on December 10th of 2018, the town board did adopt a resolution confirming that moratorium, which had existed, no longer was in place. Pat Sheedy has talked about water pressure, and then I think we've addressed community character impacts. We think, number one, compared to what was previously approved on this site, a large office park, and number two, based on the many modifications that we voluntarily made over the course of many months in 2025, that this project ultimately will have positive impacts in terms of community character. Next slide. So with all that being said, and recognizing, of course, that your advisory, we are asking that you would recommend the town board approve the requested rezoning from OB to MFR5. As I've indicated repeatedly, this project will come back in front of you in connection with the request for site plan approval. Either myself, Pat, Joe, or Tom would welcome any comments or questions that any of you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, any questions?
No, Mr. Chairman.
John, questions?
Yeah, Mr. Hopkins, you indicated that several of these changes were a result of neighborhood interaction. And my question is, if you are granted, based on a recommendation we make, and then the town board approves the rezoning, do you plan, prior to site plan approval, to continue
To engage with
the
residents,
dialogue?
yes, absolutely.
Formal, scheduled?
We would have another informational meeting voluntarily.
All right, thank you.
Joe, any questions?
Yes, you addressed the town's concern about connectivity to Garfield. I, however, am in favor of connectivity to Garfield for emergency vehicle access and plowing and connectivity to neighborhoods. Would you be open to a condition to allow future access to the Garfield, to include that in your design?
Yeah, all I would say is based on our discussions with the residents on Bellingham, that will not be well received. So my concern would be, I don't want to agree to that condition because again, I know that will result in tremendous opposition to the project, whereas we've worked very closely with the residents. And we are providing that emergency access to Limestone, and if we can accommodate it, access for our residents via a controlled gate.
No further questions.
Hearing that, are there any questions from Mr. Hopkins or his cohorts here, or concerns from the general public? Okay. By the way, before you start to get into your time, there was a woman, was it Miss Sania? All right. Who had sent us some emails concerning this particular project and wanted to know if they were read. I just wanted to assure that the emails that are sent to the planning department are all forwarded to the planning board members, and we do read them, and they're part of the record. Just to assure you, they're not ignored. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Hey, that guy's a good speaker. Tom Munklebaum, 189 Bellingham Drive. You all know all the previous stuff, but I've lived there for 43 years. It's most of my life. And I tested my water pressure because I had to put a new water pressure valve in, or regulator in. I have 38 pounds of pressure. Now, the specs on it say 40 pounds is low. 40 pounds, I have 38 pounds. So I did some looking up on homeowners insurance, consider 40 pounds low. So I'm already starting low. But then I had to go and look, and I was wondering, it started bugging me that the insurance companies, they've done whatever studies they've done. I think it needs deeper studies on how much impact, because it's a lot of people to possibly be taking showers all at the same time. Maybe they won't, maybe they will. But, I don't know how, I'm worried that that's gonna drop to a point that my insurance company will raise my rates. So, I mean, to me, it seems common sense. Maybe there's technical stuff they know more than I do about the water pressure stuff, but it's just what it seems to me. So, then I've been, I didn't want to, but I've been trying to get a hold of lawyers because I read that if the municipality goes ahead with a venture such as this, and it makes the infrastructure, or they have to make sure the infrastructure is there to support it. I don't know why they specified the municipality. Could be wrong, I don't know. So, and they put it in and it does not adversely affect us, so be it. So I know how I read it, but I'm not sure. So, really didn't want to go there, but knowing that you know the existing problems, I feel like you might be asking me to go that route and, seek legal counsel or whatnot. I don't want to do that. Then you got the traffic, which they've done whatever traffic studies they did, but I don't know if any of you have tried to sit at Garrison and Worley or Maine and Worley, or Maine and Youngs, and, or Youngs and Maine. Those, at certain times, are just insane. So, then supposedly, I don't remember what he said about where he plans on doing the drainage, but I was at the fire hall, and they mentioned something about pushing it off towards the outsides of the property, you know, towards my house, towards Spindrift. I'm not sure how that'll work. It's like, is that gonna make my sump pump run like crazy? Or is it just gonna be like a mosquito nightmare? Because we got mosquito with the wetlands there, and I don't know how you put those wetlands things up there. And I got plenty of photographs. I didn't bring any with me, but if you go there, well, when it melts a little bit, you'll see how much wetlands is there, and they got a lot of buildings right on top of wetlands. I don't know how they're, you know, spin that to build on those. So I'm worried about that. It doesn't, if you get a drought, it might fully evaporate by August. That's how long it takes. That's what it did last year, and when that drought, that's when they finally, and they weren't supposed to mow it, but they mowed right through where the wetlands were. That's the way Huntress is. But, so I just know that I'm at 40, or low is 40, I'm at 38. And I'm afraid that I'm gonna go and my rates will get, my insurance will go up to my homeowners. That's all, I guess.
Thank you, sir.
So, all right, thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none? Okay. I know you guys kind of got into it already, but could, Mr. Hawkins, could you address this gentleman's concerns?
So thank you. First of all, I do want to acknowledge the previous speaker was at least one or more of our informational meetings and has expressed some of those comments previously. I think we've addressed them all. In terms of water pressure, keep in mind where we're at. We're not at site plan approval yet. Once we get to that point in time, there will be engineered plans that will include even more detailed information. And once again, we'll have to confirm that, yes, indeed, we have no adverse impacts in terms of water pressure, both for domestic and firefighting purposes. But we've done way more analysis than anyone's ever done in connection with the rezoning. So we're well aware of that topic, and we will continue to address it as we go forward. In terms of drainage, one of the issues on this site and why there was historically some wetlands is there is no drainage system. So by installing a drainage system, we'll actually improve the drainage conditions compared to what's there today. In terms of traffic, again, we've already mentioned the fact that we have a traffic impact study. And again, we've also modified this project several times as I presented to, number one, reduce the density, number two, increase the green space, and then number three, eliminate any buildings with a height of taller than 35 feet. The exact same height that's permitted in the town's adjacent R3 zoning district. I also do want to note that if there's any follow-up questions from the previous speaker, we'll share any of the information with him and his nearby residents, as we've done throughout this process, and we will engage in continued dialogue.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Close the hearing on that one. And John, do you want to?
Yeah, well, no, yeah, sure. Okay with me.
Yeah, we're going to take a couple of minute break here, and then we'll get into the actual votes.
Racing.
Very involved. You never, until you get into these. Send a message. Or you did this before.
Shouldn't have a car wash.
Nope. No need.
I didn't have a choice. I had
To announce right now, he's actually stapled all of the positions back. Wait until now. Like it's 45 minutes, so I should have it. She did make it. Make the pizza easy.
Can't be that far.
I wanted to use this.
Wife is on.
That's all I would eat. Oh, everything. Which one is? Is that not Connors? Yeah.
Oh my. What did you just dissolve in there?
A buddy of mine, he built a kitchen. Somewhat like yours, but different. He's got a deep fryer out back. He'll just sit there and make layers. He's got a grill, laptop, sink, and on the other side of the walls is this chair. Not even that close. But deep fryer, he'll send us videos. They're making wings.
But then I went to the other. So anyways,
She always starts encouraging him. Yeah, John, you're all good?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. I'd let her see him. I was going to give her a beat about 5 more seconds. She was hitting it. Did you see the game?
Yeah, she was.
Well, I mean, I get her frustration because they were supposed to put trees in, and they never did, and they're getting run around.
Okay, folks, let's get into the various votes on here. Item number 1, which is 3900 Maple Road. We don't need to do anything on seeker on that. The first question is with the request for design exception. Do I hear a vote or a proposal or a vote with regard to the design exception?
I move that we approve the design exception.
John has moved to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Second, Joe. Roll call, please.
Shamil,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Okay. With regard to the site plan, we have 11 conditions, which are up on the right screen, on the left screen for that matter. Has everyone here at the board had a chance to review and understand those conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anyone here or in the audience that wishes to have them read out loud? Okay. Do I have a proposal with the conditions as they're listed?
Move to approve on the site plan.
Move to approve with the conditions on the
With the
site plan?
conditions, yes.
John, do I hear a second?
Second?
Second, Joe, roll call, please.
Shamil,
Yes?
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. The last vote passed 4-0 for design exception. I didn't mention it, sorry. Okay, item number 2, which is 46 through 84 South Linden. First with that, we have our seeker determination. Do we have a motion with regard to seeker?
Move on the neg deck.
We have a motion for a negative declaration. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, Joe. Roll call, please.
Shamil,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
That passes 4-0. There is a sidewalk waiver request on McIntyre Road. Is there a proposal or motion with regard to the sidewalk waiver request?
Motion to approve the waiver?
Joe has made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mike. Roll call, please.
Shamil,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Okay, and with regard, passes 4-0. With regard to the site plan, there are 15 listed conditions. Has everyone here on the board had a chance to review and understand the 15 conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions amongst the board members with regard to any of the conditions? No.
Nope.
Is there anyone here or in the general audience that wants any or all of the conditions read out loud? Hearing none, is there a proposal or vote with regard to the site plan based upon these conditions?
Move to approve the site plan.
John has moved to approve with the conditions as listed, the 15 conditions. Is there a second?
Second?
Joe is seconded. Roll call, please.
Shamil,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Next item is the 118 South Forest Road, Mishler's Florist. There's no seeker on this, so this goes right to the site plan. And there are here 5 conditions. Has everyone here had a chance to review and understand the 5 conditions as listed?
Yes.
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 Are there any questions or concerns regarding the conditions?
No.
Does anybody here in the general audience want the 5 conditions read out loud? Hearing none, is there a proposal or vote with regard to the site plan based upon the conditions as listed?
Motion to approve with the conditions as listed.
Joe has made a motion to approve with the 5 conditions. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mike. Roll call, please.
Shamil,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Item number 4 is the Emily's Garden, 3220 through 3278 Millersport Highway. with regard to that, there's still things to do on that. What we have discussed is keeping the hearing open. Is there a proposal or a vote to keep the hearing open and adjourn to the next meeting?
So moved.
John has moved to continue the hearing and to postpone, so it's still open to the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, Joe. Roll call, please.
Camille,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
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 That passes 4-0. All right, item number 5 is 5122 Sheridan Drive. My understanding, there is no secret determination on this. Am I correct about that?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, so this is just based upon we have one condition based upon this with regard to the recommendation of the town board. That recommendation being, or that condition being that the petitioner provide a protective covenant restricting the northerly 75 feet of property to green space without any further development. Has everyone understood that condition?
Yes.
I read it myself, so we don't need to have it read again.
Yes.
Is there a proposal or a vote with regard to the recommendation based upon that condition?
Go ahead.
To approve.
John will move to approve with the one condition. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike is second. Roll call, please.
Camille,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. And finally, we have item number 6, which is the 2190, 2200 Worley Drive. This one here, they were talking about the seeker. Do we have a seeker on this, or is this strictly the recommendation?
Recommendation of the
Just recommendation, okay. All right. Do we have a proposal? We have no list of conditions up on the board. Do we have any conditions or proposals with regard to the recommendation of the town board?
Motion to approve with the listed conditions with the addition of a recommendation not to preclude connectivity to Garfield in the future.
Okay. Has everyone else at the board heard Mr. Raphael's condition that he's at? He's asking that it not be precluded, not required, but not precluded.
It's not a condition, it's a recommendation.
Recommendation, that's our
It's a
recommendation. Correct.
As part of the recommendation, that it would be to the town board, not precluded to have connectivity to Garfield, but it not be precluded either. Has everyone heard that and understood that?
Yes.
Okay. We have the proposal. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mike. Roll call, please.
Camille,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Okay. We've already done the minutes. So do I have a proposal or a vote to adjourn until next month?
I move to adjourn.
John has moved to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mike, second. Roll call, please.
Camille,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Raphael.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. You almost didn't have a quorum on that. And we would have had to stay. Okay. Thank you, ladies and